All right, welcome back to another episode of the Extreme Lifestyle Living Podcast. Now, today it's obviously the second video that we're doing. So, I do hope the audio is transferring okay from the video into the audio because I know some of it is a little bit differently. And I still have a fucking ton of anxiety doing all this stuff because there's a camera with separate audio, and then I got my MacBook, which I'm watching things, and not that it's relevant to you guys at all, but even the stage of the game, things just are continuously uncomfortable, right? So I always feel like it's a spaceship that I'm set up in. But the feedback I got already from the podcast and doing the video has been absolutely fucking incredible. Your guys' support and love for everything is great, and let alone a lot of you guys have been supporting me for a long time, and most of it's always been audio. So now that you get to have the video there, I get to add that extra layer of interpersonal, just personality into it, right? And I feel like, when you're a visual learner versus audio, you get to see a lot more of the context of emotion, my points, the things that I'm trying to get across and things like that. And I honestly just genuinely like it. I'm chilling. I'm going to start bringing, like I said, every time my fucking notes to the podcast so I can really bring a lot of impact. And honestly, it's fun. It's honestly just incredibly fucking fun just sitting here with my notes and what I want to talk about. But it's February 6th. I'm recording this, so this would be the second week into February when you guys are listening to this, just about. And like I said, I'm always going to remind you guys of, at least as long as I have this podcast, as to what time of the year it is. 6 weeks into the year is already done. January's already under our belt. When you're listening to this episode, it'll be the second full week of February starting. So we're just getting around that 6 week marker of the year. And, I want you guys to understand that because time is going to go regardless of what you fucking do with it. And it's on you guys to just make sure you're reflecting, adjusting, moving forward with your guys' goals and just staying aligned with the versions that you guys want to become, because a lot can change within a fucking year. 365 days is a long time, but at the same time, it's a very short time. So I always want to reflect and just always have that organically, because that's the main reason why I'm here. And that's why I like having the podcast as a video now, and I get to watch them, reflect on them, and have my notes and really figure out my kind of personality around it, and just have fun with it. But if I don't reflect, I'm never going to get better. And I think for you guys, again, just jumping into the year of wanting to be better versions of yourself, the only thing that's on the table in terms of limitations is your self-doubt and excuses. Everything else is fucking fair game. If you're willing to show up, be consistent enough, and be disciplined, do the shit you don't want to do to become the version of yourself that you've never been before, I can promise you it's going to work out. But today's topic is building muscle. I want to talk about building muscle. It's funny, I don't usually do straight up fitness type of podcast. Usually it's perspectives or more connection based, or through my experiences and stuff. But to be honest, running a fitness coaching business, as much as I love this podcast, I love mental health and things like that, everyone struggles with their fitness to some degree, whether it's nutrition, whether it's working out, whatever it may be. But, a lot of us in this world talk about losing fat, being small, losing weight. And no one really talks about building muscle, which is honestly, you got to lose weight, lose fat, and do fucking it's a trifecta. It's going to do way more than just losing weight and losing fat. So I want to break down a few different just points about that. One being what's gaining muscle versus losing fat, how there's a big difference in it. I want to talk about how building muscle is harder than losing fat, which is almost like a controversial take. And then let's talk about protein and, why it's so fucking important. And then talk about consistency, commitment, and shutting the fuck up and doing what you got to do. Because at the end of the day, no one wants to eat all this food. I know I don't want to eat all this food. If we could just take a magic pill, which some people try to do that, or a magic substance, which some people also try to do that, then you can maybe see success. If there's something out there like that, then, you lie to yourself to see success. We would all fucking do it. You know what I mean? We would all sit there and take that route, but it's not. That's why most successful people understand the basic fundamentals and the principles that you got to do some shit you don't want to fucking do, because in the boring work is the consistency that there's just growth there. And when it comes to building muscle, we're in a world where everyone's trying to be smaller and be this version of ourselves that's just shrinking ourselves. We never talk about building muscle, especially as women. There's even a trend going around where guys are joking about, I think it's guys and girls that are just trying to, where guys are they don't want to date too bulky women, and women are making fun of the men that are making, it's just a whole fucking, it's a big fucking thing, right? And building muscle is one of those things where if you can focus on it more than you can focus on losing fat, you're going to see way more success. And I even got caught up at the beginning of my fitness journey, just trying to be small, trying to lose weight, trying to lose fat and things like that. But when you understand what it does to your body, what the difference is, gaining muscle is actually increasing your muscle mass and size. Losing fat and weight is keeping you the same size, just shrinking you. That's all it is. If you're whatever muscle mass you have on you now, and all you're focused on is losing fat, and that's your primary objective, you're not going to be any stronger. You're not going to be any bigger. You're not going to have any more muscle definition. Your tonus in your body fat will go down, but it's still not going to hit that visual that you think it's going to do, because building muscle is what changes your frame. It changes your aesthetics. It changes your infrastructure of how you look and feel. If you lose fat, you can look and feel better, but it's not going to fit that mold that you think it is. Like prime example for guys want to fill out t-shirts. They want to have big chests, big chest. They want to have big delts, big arms. They want to fill out the t-shirt muscles. If you just lose fat, you will look better in a t-shirt, but that doesn't mean you're going to fill out that t-shirt. That doesn't mean you're going to look good in that t-shirt. You're going to look better, but it's not going to fit that mold that you're looking. You want to have your biceps pop out of your shirt. You want to have your delts, your chest, and your back pop out of the shirt. And if you're a grown-ass man, you're not going to squeeze yourself into extra small or small. Like, I mean, some guys do and they're fucking look stupid as shit. But that's not going to make you feel better. It's going to help you feel better. But if you focus on building muscle, not only are you going to gain more muscle to look better and feel better and hit your goals better, but organically as well, you're going to lose fat. So there's a huge difference there. It's like those people that just care about the scale going down. And like, you know, that's why I was like, not to jump ahead, but the reason why building muscle is harder than losing fat is because losing fat just comes down to being in a calorie deficit. And then how much of that calorie deficit and how aggressive it is, meaning how many calories are you burning more than you're actually consuming. Once you hit a certain percentiles, most of the weight you're losing is muscle mass. So that's why if you focus on building muscle and being in surplus and actually play that algorithm and learn those macronutrients and how to gain muscle, it becomes a way better fucking game. But it takes a lot more fucking work, you know, because you can literally eat a good amount of calories each day, but not really care too much about the macros where your protein, carbs, and fats are, and still lose weight and lose fat. You can't do that and build muscle. You can't sit there and get 6,000 calories a day and just gain muscle. You can with the calorie surplus, and eventually your protein is going to hit a level that you're eating each day with how many calories you're getting. That's going to be enough protein to gain muscle. But the quality of that muscle is not going to be good. What it's doing to your body is not going to be good. So the reason why building muscle is harder than losing fat or losing weight is because building muscle doesn't just take calories. You got to understand your macronutrients. When you're losing weight or losing macros, it's more so about consistency around your calories overall. Are you eating enough calories for your body to have energy? And then the next step after burning and shedding the fat to another level is learning the micro and macronutrients to see where the fat is losing. Because most people at the beginning just need to learn to eat consistently. If you want to build muscle mass, if you want to build like that lean tissue and get stronger and see that growth and feel different, you have to understand what protein is. You have to understand what carbs are. You have to understand what fats are. You have to understand what all these different things are, because the calorie surplus or deficit when it comes to building and maintaining your muscle mass has to be spot on from a macronutrient standpoint. Because again, going over to the losing the fat and losing the weight, if you're, let's say, 500 calorie deficit and you're just trying to lose weight, most people just care about that deficit. They don't care about where the macros are at. They don't care where their hydration is at. They just say, am I burning more than I'm consuming? And if it's a yes, then they think they're seeing success, which to a degree you will see success. But again, to go back to how you feel and look in the mirror, let's say you're a guy trying to wear that t-shirt, or you're a lady trying to wear a dress where your hips look good, you have the curvature of your body, you're slim, you have your back looks good, it's an open dress maybe, and just feel confident. Like same with the guy. Now, if you're in a 500 calorie deficit every single day and you're continuously losing weight and your clothes are fitting better, you are going to feel and look better in those clothes, in the t-shirt and the dress, but you're going to be flat. And what flat means is those muscles aren't actually going to be filled up with any calories or any energy, any carbs, meaning that your symmetry, your shape, how you look in the dress, how you look in the shirt is just going to be a shrunken version of yourself. And like, you know, when you see people on Instagram or you see people in the gym and they have like the veins, they have the striations, they have that pump and they look their best. And even people on Instagram and influencers that you guys see, all of those visuals are fueled with carbohydrates, fueled with fats, fueled with proteins, and it's a calculated process. You know, even with me, like the reason why I look a certain way is because it's a calculated process. If right now in a bodybuilding prep, if I just worried about a deficit, there's going to be a point of diminishing return where I'm just losing all of my muscle mass. So you got to learn about your macros. You got to learn about building muscle more so than just losing fat, because even when you look at the physiological side of life and how your body metabolizes fats and how your body metabolizes calories, there's a threshold for how it breaks down those calories. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, if you're just eating, like I said, 6,000 calories and it's not filled to the right macros, then it's like your body is going to use that energy, but all of that surplus is going to fuck your body up depending on how much of a surplus it is, how much of a deficit it is, where these foods are coming from. But if you can learn the macros and micros, what happens is your metabolism is what you want to fire on. A lot of people hear the term body recomposition, but they don't really understand it. So most people, when they start a program or start the fitness or start the journey, they just want to lose weight, lose fat, which is great. But if you focus on building muscle, then you can get into a position to learn about body recomposition. And recomposition means that your weight will stay virtually the same within reason, maybe up or down 5 or 10 pounds. But what will happen is that the weight that you're currently at, you're converting your fat into muscle while burning the fat at the same time. So instead of just focusing on the calorie deficit, 500 calories, and like you're burning more than you're consuming, to be in a deficit, look at it from a strategic standpoint and then play the puzzle, play the game, play the equation. Okay, my calories are, let's say, 250, 300 calorie deficit, let's say 500 for the sake of the conversation. But out of the calories I'm eating, where are the percentage of proteins, fats, and carbs? If you can play that game, what will happen is not only are you giving yourself enough calories to hit the markers of preserving, maintaining, and gaining muscle mass and gaining strength, but you're also giving yourself enough protein for that, which means that your fats and your carbs are going to be in alignment as well. So your cognitive function, your hormones, and everything regulates itself because it has the right amount of macronutrients and micros within the calories you're consuming. And then the carbs are what's going to be the main driver factor of your fat loss, meaning that all the extra deficit that you're burning, so let's say 500 calories you're burning, the percentage of that's going to come from your carbohydrates, meaning that you can actually lose fat while preserving and gaining muscle. So that's where you want to get at. And that's why when you looking at it from let's say all of this is going over your head because we're talking about macros and micros and numbers and things like that. That's why we talk about eating breakfast with a high protein, 30 to 50 grams, 60 grams. Same with lunch, 30 to 50 grams. Same with dinner, 30 to 50 grams. Because let's say you get 50 grams of protein, breakfast, dinner, lunch, that puts you at 150 grams of protein. As a man, that's still not enough. But again, it's still better than getting 100 grams. As a woman, that's fucking far. That's great. That's perfect. That's right in the baseline between 135, 165, depending on what your goals are. That's going to help a lot as a woman. And as a guy, you add a protein shake, you get the minimum 185 to 190. Like, you're going to notice a significant difference. And the reason why that I feel like that's so important is because all of us want to look and feel our fucking best. So when you understand the science behind things, you understand what your body does with certain calories and foods and these things, like that's when you start to really get excited and understand the level of life. And that's why, initially we all want to lose weight and lose fat because we think we're going to feel better and look better, which we are. Like I'm saying, there's no doubt about that. Do you know what I mean? But again, you're going to be a shrunken, sunken in version of yourself. Like myself included, even Emma, we were looking at our progress pics from like 10 years ago when we first got into it. And our version of a cut and bulk and all these different things was just starving ourselves, really. And we looked better and felt better, but it's like we honestly could have done it a lot better. And the reason why just focusing on losing weight and losing fat isn't good is because you can ruin your fucking hormones, you can ruin your digestive tract, you can ruin your fucking your mental health with binge eating patterns and yo-yo dieting. There's so many different variables with it. Whereas when you learn how to build muscle, you realize food is fuel. You have to eat. And then also, you not only that you have to, but you want to eat, which actually leads to one of my last points is consistency, commitment, and just shut the fuck up. Like at the end of the day, if you want to gain muscle, you have to eat protein. There's no way around it. If you want to drive your fucking car, you're going to put gas in it. If you want to go for to the Bahamas or to Mexico or something for vacation, you're going to take a fucking flight. You want to live in a nice fancy fucking house or whatever roof is over your head, you want to live there, you're going to pay fucking rent. So you got to understand that you got to commit to it. It is what it is. The more protein you get, the more muscle mass you have, period. The more muscle mass you have, the higher metabolism will be, period. The higher metabolism is, the more calories you burn, period. The higher calories you can burn, the easier it is to shred fat, period. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no secret gimmick. That's just exactly what it is. Now, like I said, losing weight, losing fat's not a bad thing. It can get you started, but there's levels to this stuff. And if you even focus on protein right out of the gate, 9 times out of 10, most people that literally focus on high protein, getting their steps in, getting their hydration in, see more success long-term and short-term because they're playing the bigger picture. They're not just trying to pigeonhole themselves into shrinking themselves and becoming a version of themselves that they don't think they are yet. You got to build it up. Prime example, one of my clients, Noah, right now, crushing it. Lost 15 to 20 fucking pounds, on fire. He was really focusing on that deficit, systemizing his food, regulating it, which is great. Now it's about systemizing the macros. You got to get that high protein into you. You got to make sure the right fats and right carbs are getting into your body so you can continuously speed up your metabolism and catch it. So the percentage of the weight you're losing is all fucking fat. And that's how you do it. But the reason why I'm going in about consistency and commitment and shutting the fuck up is because you got to accept that it's there. Just like you got to pay taxes, just like you got to pay bills, just like you got to pay rent, just like you got to put fucking groceries on the table, just like you got to get gas in your fucking car. You got to do it. If you don't want to do that shit, it's not going to happen, period. That's it. And you got to be consistent with it. You can't do it 3 to 4 days out of the fucking 7. You can't do it 4 to 5 days out of the 7. You can't do it 5 or 6 days out of the 7. You got to do it 7 out of the fucking 7 days, period. And you got to fucking be consistent and committed to it. That's just it. There's no rhyme or reason around it. That there's no secret gimmick. And I can promise you, if you get a surplus of protein and then you literally never miss that protein in your hydration goal and hit the gym 4 to 6 times a fucking week, within 3 to 6 months, you will have less fat. You will probably lose weight. Because if you look at it, I don't have any examples in the video, but search what does 1 pound of muscle look like versus 1 pound of fat. There's 5 times the amount of fat because how much your muscle mass weighs is a lot more dense. So 1 to 5 pounds of muscle is way smaller than 1 to 5 pounds of fat. So when you learn and understand these things, you're going to see a lot of success. And I feel like me just ranting about it today, kind of hitting some of the topics as to what pertain to how to gain muscle and the difference between losing weight, losing fat, and gaining muscle will help a lot of you guys. I don't like to get too scientific on it because I feel like there's no relevancy to it. Like unless you're an athlete, to a certain degree, and like really get fired up to learning the individualized macros, micros, what all these different things do. I think there's a benefit to that, but the bare minimum of we all want to be our best versions of ourselves. It's no different than investing. We all want to have financial freedom where we can be 65 years old and have no worry about money. So it's like when we invest money, like we don't got to know what the fuck's going on with it unless you're interested in it. Same with the concept of fitness and nutrition and those things. We don't got to know about all the shit that goes in behind it. We just got to know, do we got to do it and why, period. Like prime example is savings. Do you want to have a savings account? You got to put money away every paycheck. You just got to do it. If you want to know why more and everything else behind it, go ahead and learn it. But if you're at least doing that, you're going to be safe, period. Same with the nutrition, focusing on protein, everything else in that regard. So that's honestly all I got, to be honest. I feel like I ranted a lot, but it's because I wanted just to share just a lot of the perspective on building muscle versus the perspective of losing weight and losing fat, because at the end of the day, I don't really do topics that are straight up on fitness, but a lot of the mindset around that too is what I want to get into, which I felt like I did. So that's honestly all I got. I think I want to do more of the fitness side of things because, as much as I am a coach and community person, I do generally enjoy the mental health conversations and perspectives from that regard. But I don't realize how much of you guys look up to me for fitness advice, nutrition advice, workouts, and all those things. So I think organically I'm going to start getting into more of those because it's just more information, more gains, more impact for all of you guys. And I enjoy it, so why the fuck not? But other than that, I appreciate you guys all. If there's anything you guys need, always know, just don't hesitate to reach out. And then just keep doing what you guys do best, which is lead from the front and set the fucking standard. Let's go.